For years, Britain has wrestled with one of the darkest scandals in its modern history. But now, an independent inquiry, led by Member of Parliament Rupert Lowe, is forcing the country to confront an even more uncomfortable question. Was the greatest failure the crimes themselves, or the institutions that allowed them to continue? Lowe's citizen-funded inquiry argues that decades of organized child sexual exploitation were compounded by failures across policing, local government, and the criminal justice system. The report alleges that political sensitivity, poor record keeping, and institutional reluctance to confront tough questions about offender demographics left thousands of vulnerable children without protection. Although the inquiry lacks statutory powers, many of its conclusions echo concerns later identified in Baroness Louise Casey's Government Commission audit, particularly regarding institutional failures and inadequate data collection. The fallout has been immediate. The report intensified pressure on the British government, added momentum behind the statutory independent inquiry into grooming gangs, reignited fierce debate over immigration, policing, and political correctness, and helped propel Rupert Lowe's political movement into the national spotlight. Yet it has also drawn criticism from those who note that, unlike a statutory inquiry, Lowe's investigation could not compel witnesses or subpoena evidence. History often remembers the criminals who committed the atrocities, but history also remembers the institutions that knew enough to stop them and didn't. In Britain today, that may be the question that matters most.
Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Stoney.
Hello.
And Jason.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
It's raining.
Yeah, it is.
It's raining again.
It's storming out there. I mean,
El Nino.
Okay. Did everyone survive their fourth okay with all?
I have all my fingers and
say,
toes.
yeah.
Yeah, I had boiled crabs and boiled shrimp and hamburgers and
Hottie Doctor and I,
pool.
we just kind of stay close to home with the new puppies.
There you go.
To make sure that, and they
They
were just I left the TV on with kind of like a little war movie on for a little bit of it, just to kind of, but they were out. They were both just snoring their little butts off. And
hey, at least they're safe. They feel safe. Yeah.
Happy 250.
I know, yeah.
To the good old US of A.
Wow.
250 years.
Will we make it to 300?
Well,
that's going to depend on if people are willing to fight for it.
It's 2 and more.
Part of what we're talking about today is things that are not being reported in other parts of the world and really the country.
Yeah.
But have y'all heard that Cubans are now building rafts in New York City to escape communism again? And one of the guys, I sure wish I'd have kept my raft from 50 years ago.
It's Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Didn't they make a movie about that? Then Escape from New York 2.0.
Was that Kurt
Russell?
Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Man, that was a classic.
Yeah.
Real dark.
Wasn't it the president crash landed or somebody crash landed and they sent in a monster to go get him, and that was a great movie.
It was.
That's where they I think that movie, the baseline of it is they quarantine off, I think, a large portion of New York because it's like
just evil.
It's like a mega prison.
Yeah,
it's a city prison.
The whole city fell. Crime just overtook the whole city, and it's easier to just build walls around.
Foreshadowing.
Well, I thought it was great. Mondami made fireworks illegal in New York City.
Okay.
Did y'all see the videos coming out of New York City with everybody just middle fingering him about the fireworks were everywhere.
Really?
Yes. And then, of course, the big thing is he told them that they need to put their and here you go. This is communism.
Yeah.
This is the true communist thing. Said you need to put your air conditioners at 78 degrees.
78 degrees.
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't.
Yes, he came out and mandated that everybody put their air conditioners at 78 degrees, and now the city is suffering blackouts.
Yeah.
Because everyone's says, screw you,
Yeah.
68, 64,
Yeah.
whatever, and they can't keep up with the power.
I can maybe swing 72. That's all I'm gonna get you. That's all.
So this whole New York
yeah.
thing is crashing.
I bet.
Bad. Badly.
Well,
When you got the Cubans building rafts to get out of communism again, they're like, really?
Come on.
You know.
We've kind of touched on some of the reasons why people seem to have been drawn to him, promising free this and free that. I mean, it's hard to vote against Santa Claus.
As we talked about, yeah.
Well, you saw what one of the first things they removed in New York was, right?
What's that?
Pride flags.
Really?
All these people, oh, yes, communism, voting for Mondami. Yeah. Pride flags are gone now.
Really?
Well, he is Islamic.
Yeah. You're right.
Okay, they don't agree with those things, so gone. Man. Gone. All the murals gone.
They're about to learn real quick.
When people realize that
FOFA.
You're not
FAFO. Which
one? Find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had it right. Yeah.
Sorry, I got brain damage.
I don't think they're gonna realize that Islam is not compatible with the West.
Right.
It's just not.
Well, I saw this interview with this Iranian lady, and she said, I under great duress and danger, I left Iran to come to America to escape the Islamic world.
Yep.
And she said, America is the last vestige of Christianity, and what we thought was freedom, what we thought. And she goes, if America falls, where do you go?
There ain't nowhere to go.
Where do you go? And it was just a moving statement by her, because we're it.
Yeah.
Countries are kind of holding. China has done some things against Islam. Russia is definitely doing some things against Islam, but they can just go kill people.
Right.
Okay. We have a hard time with that here in America.
Yeah.
Although that war is coming.
Right.
But they can just go kill people and make people disappear, and there's no news to report it. There's no woke agenda people going, ooh, look,
Yeah.
But Poland, when you look at the numbers like Poland, they have none of these crime statistics.
That's because they've not allowed anybody in. Actually, they're fined by the EU every year.
Really?
Yes, because they do not allow immigrants into their country. And because they're part of the EU, they are being fined, and basically the Polish leadership is basically giving them the middle finger. We'll pay the fine, but we're not allowing Muslim immigrants in this country. Unfortunately, it's what has happened in Europe right now. I mean, it's well documented. It's in the news every day about what's going on in those countries. I mean, we hear about Tommy Robinson in Britain, which is kind of where our topic is today regarding what's happening over there. But what's going on is happening in Sweden, Germany.
Germany's getting hit harder than anybody, I think.
Spain, all these European countries that just absolutely open their borders up indiscriminately, not vetting anybody coming across their border, and just overnight changing the complete demographics and makeups of those countries. It is unbelievable. I never would have. What has gotten in the water over there that they thought this was a good idea? I don't know if it was out of the goodness of their heart that they think they're doing good and all these things, but
well, the first thing that pops in my head is okay, why do we have so many when you had these Cuban immigrants coming from Cuba?
Yeah.
What were they leaving? Communism.
Yeah.
Okay, Fidel Castro took over. They were poor. They were trying to come to a better life.
Right.
Okay, so they came in, for the most part, they became Americans as best as they could. They learned the language. They opened up businesses. They did this.
Yeah.
Okay, they left a bad situation. And I got no problem with somebody leaving a bad situation that wants to come to America, become an American citizen. But, okay, all right, so they didn't have another like-minded country to go to. that may be a little bit better. If you have all of these millions and millions of Islamic immigrants, why aren't they going to Islamic countries?
Right. Well, we've talked about this a little bit.
Well, I'm asking the question.
Yeah,
That's what this is about today.
We've
This is what why? Oh, wait, they said you can't come. So an Islamic country said you can't come into our country.
Right.
And then all of these powers that be in Europe and America, you know, the Biden crime family and Obama and all of this said, open arms, just come on, we'll take you. Okay, is there no red flag there for anybody other than, I'm going to try to get some votes and some slaves? Because that's basically all anybody's trying to do is they're trading slavery for votes.
Yeah.
And we're going to give you a whole bunch of free stuff. You know, and I say this, I want to remind everybody that my wife is an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'm not against legal, practical immigration to America. I think it's an amazing thing. If you immigrate to Russia, can you ever become Russian? No, you can become a Russian citizen, but you can never become Russian. Mm-hmm. If you go to Argentina, can you ever become Argentinian? No, you can become an Argentine citizen.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go to France, can you ever become French? No, you can become a French citizen.
Yeah.
America is still the greatest country in the world that if you come here, you can become an American.
Yeah.
And people seem to forget that. Jason was telling me a story about something that happened in a brick and mortar store that just blows my mind. Of people not wanting to celebrate the Independence Day.
Mm-hmm.
This is still America.
Yeah.
We you know, I mean, granted, we got some issues.
Of course.
We got some work to do, but we got to get this immigration thing under control. Or what's happening in Europe it's already starting here. Yeah. Rape is up. If you look in Dearborn, Michigan, if you look in all these places in Minnesota and California and New York City, all of these numbers are starting to tick up.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you what's happening in Britain is, I mean, what this report revealed. I encourage people to pull this report up and read it. I think it's about 219 pages.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to do this report, he had to basically crowdfund this thing.
Yeah.
And I think he raised about $600,000 U.S. dollars to finance this independent inquiry. And I'm going to tell you what I saw in that report because it goes into the victims talk about what happened to them.
Yikes.
As young as 11 years old of what they did to these girls and boys.
Right.
It ain't just girls.
Yeah.
I think, the report, just kind of some summaries here. I see the grooming gangs operated in approximately 149 locations across Britain. Police literally were turning a blind eye to girls being raped, being trafficked to these Muslim countries, becoming sex slaves. And I know one story which shocked me, where this, parents called the police, and the police basically told them, just be glad that you're being introduced to another culture.
No, dude.
Yes.
Get out.
I am not lying to you, dude.
Get out.
What you would just absolutely shake your head and go, what the hell happened?
Right.
And I'm telling you, what has come out with this stuff, and I mentioned it to Stoney earlier, this stuff has been going on. Actually, this goes back, the first reported rape by Islamic group or Islamic people actually dates back to like 1957. So far, this goes back.
Yeah.
So this goes back multiple prime ministers.
Yeah.
That really just turned a blind eye to this problem because by all means, they did not want to be considered Islamophobic.
Yeah.
Or be called a bigot.
Yeah.
Or be called a racist, because for whatever reason, how that term has now paralyzed people to literally turn a blind eye to an injustice like this. In the report, they say this is the floor.
Yeah.
250,000 UK girls, primarily white working class girls.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably much higher than that.
Right.
250,000. I saw that this what's happened now with this pressure that is from this report, because now it's starting to trend in the news. It's forced open some like almost 1,300 closed investigations.
Really?
Yeah.
Regarding rapes
Damn.
and trafficking and stuff like that.
We talked about this in one of the previous episodes about the whole Islamic situation and stuff like that, and it brings back to what we said in that episode, or what we said across a couple episodes, I think, is integration with the place you're going to. Like you said, you can go to a foreign country, you can go to Russia, you can, you can't ever fully be like a Russian. You can be you have a citizenship. But it's also like it's about integrating with the culture, and I think in a certain way, and like you had talked about with people from Cuba coming across and like leaving a bad circumstance, but then also integrating with how we do things, and of course bringing their own culture here, but also not trying to take away from what we have, like that whole, the back and forth of it.
You have to learn to read and write English.
Yeah.
How simple is that?
Right.
It took, I think, Miranda 11 years to become a citizen, almost $50,000 to become a citizen of America. And I'm going, just the simple things. Okay, that gives you time. Now, do I think it really should be that long? I'm going to be honest with you. No, I think maybe 4 to 5 years should be max.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think that should come with, background as best as you can do it, finding out what these people are, who they are, what they can do. If you want to immigrate to Russia, you can.
Right.
But you have to have a list of things, how you're going to benefit the Russian people.
Of course.
I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
I'm a scientist. I'm a whatever you are, you have to benefit the Russian people. Why are we just allowing people to come to America and then giving them food stamps, homes, whatever? That's not how this is supposed to work. And something, Jason, you said, it started in the 50s. Well, the 50s and the 70s was really the post-war labor migration into Europe from countries like Turkey, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. That kind of started all of this. But then in the 70s and 90s, what really started was the family reunification and permanent settlements in Europe. Okay, some people would come, well, I want to bring my family. I want to do this. Oh, well, we need people with their families. And so communities now became multi-generational in Europe. And then the 90s, the Balkan Wars started. We know what all that did. And then again, 2000s, asylum, family migration. And then what started in the 90s was irregular immigration. And that came from Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, and North Africa. And then 2011 onward, the Syrian war and the Middle East instability with Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. 15 and 16 was the historic asylum surge. Again, Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan, and North Africa. 21 on, Afghanistan, Syria, Turkey, Iraq. 22 onward, the Ukraine war. Look at this one. Okay, how many people have come? Plus all the, continuing Middle East and Africa. They're just coming and coming. And then in 2023 and 25, the asylum levels just go extremely high, but now they're starting to decline because Europe countries are, here you go, as badly as they criticized Trump, our president Donald Trump, they criticized him for wanting to do something about this. What have they adopted? Trump style immigration reform.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They got to, to me, they have literally destroyed the country that their ancestors gave them.
Oh, yeah.
And that, to me, is a crime of what they allowed their countries to turn into is the sort of balkanization of areas. Like, I mean, London. London has a Muslim mayor.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something wrong with this.
Hello, America has a number of Muslim mayors, and I mean, really?
I mean, it's just blows my mind that the center of British culture has fallen
Yeah.
to this, and it's just like, and they're okay. Well, I'm not going to say they're okay with it, because a lot of people are not okay with it. The question is who are the powers that allow this? And it really spun up under Tony Blair. When Tony Blair became prime minister, that's when really the heavy migration into the United Kingdom really started. But it's not just the United Kingdom. I mean, Sweden was the rape capital. You know, the Swedish girls were getting assaulted by
trafficked
these
back because they love the blondes over there for whatever reason.
Well, that goes back to the religion of Islam, and you have to understand kind of what's going on here, because in their way they are supporting their religion, and the religion calls for, and the report goes into this about what they told these girls, that your God has abandoned you. You should have been worshiping Allah. And there is a religious angle to this, why they target particularly white Christian girls. There's an intent behind that. It ain't just by chance.
Of course.
I'm not saying that other girls of other nationalities were not affected, not to the level of what this report revealed. And it's funny that the people, I found this interesting, when people were calling the police to respond to certain things, like a family would call, my daughter got accosted or got raped or whatever the case may be. If they were a white family, they were dismissed.
Get out.
If they were Asian, the police responded.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, I'm not making that up. That is in the report.
Wow.
Because you're white. And I hate to put it that way.
Right.
But the reality is there is an anti-white.
Yeah.
There is a anti-white element to this whole thing.
Yeah.
We've all heard it.
Oh, yeah. Especially here in America.
We've seen it, especially a white male. If you are a white male, you are definitely, look at Hollywood, look at the movies I've been coming out with. It ain't white men.
No.
And the white men they do put in there, what are they? They're pathetic, bumbling idiots.
Dumb,
exactly.
Dummies.
Nothing like what it was when I was growing up at all. But to me, this is what is happening now. They're not going to come out and say it.
No, of course not.
But the statistics show that that's the issue.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't tell me if the mayor of London comes out and says, well, there is no grooming gangs going on. What do you think he's protecting? He's protecting his own people. That's just the reality of it. He's not looking out for white British people.
No.
He's not.
Of course not.
It just blows my mind that the king and all of the royals over there's a law that says that they can dissolve parliament. They're out of power. Okay, the royalty is out of power. Parliament is now what runs England.
The UK.
Okay, but there is a law still left in there that the king can come in if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, dissolve Parliament, and start over again. Why haven't they done that? When you get to this point, it's still your people. It's still, like you said, generation. You're just going to turn this over. Why not start over? Why not start over? This whole woke agenda thing is kind of crazy, because there's not one through history. There is not one example ever of a woke, what's the word I'm looking for? Deviant society that has succeeded. Not one. The Roman Empire fell. The Mayans fell. due to all of this deviance and woke agenda and handouts and becoming social, my feelings are more important than anything kind of situations.
Well, the feeling thing, that's definitely more of a modern thing now with the whole...
The Roman Empire went through the same thing. Where people, it was all about feelings. When the Roman Empire started, what were the statues? The statues were the warriors, were the gladiators with the swords and the shields. With the latter half, what were the statues? Boys and women's dresses. The whole mentality changed and it disappeared.
It's
What's happening in America? We're taking away our warrior statues. And what are we putting up? We're not far from it.
Sissified stuff. I hate to put it that. I hate to put it that way, but in all reality, that's what is being pushed. You talking about the crown? An interesting development that occurred. I don't know if y'all caught this, but as one of the titles of the King of England is the Defender of the Faith.
Yes,
which would be the Church of England.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he's changed that now.
No way.
Oh, yes. You didn't know this.
No, I didn't know this.
He's now declared that he is defender of the faiths.
No, absolutely not,
Yes.
dude.
Oh, yes.
Get out.
Oh, yes.
Get out.
Oh, yes. So he's violating his own country's... I mean, that is basically this the foundation of what it is to be English.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, look,
that's one of the reasons American broke away, because we weren't. The separation of church and state is that not you can't have the 10 Commandments here, or you can't have a cross on public property. It's that the government can't tell you what religion to support.
Right. Exactly.
That's where the Supreme Court gets that wrong.
Right.
And along other stuff like this thing with the birthright citizenship that they just failed miserably the other day.
Yeah. Oh, that was a terrible ruling, but I think my understanding...
There's ways around it, and they're working on it.
I think my understanding was he cannot do what he was doing via executive order. It would have to actually be a congressional
action. They're working on that now.
Yeah, that needs to change, because that is not what the founders, or I should say the founders, that is not what the writers of the 14th Amendment, which they're using as a basis, that was not the understanding that illegal people can just come in the country, drop a baby, and leave, and that baby's American. No, that
basically was to ensure that the slaves and their children became citizens.
Exactly. That's exactly what that was.
Got that. Okay, but they're turning it into something else.
Oh,
and the Democrats have been abusing that for years and years.
Well, it's some of them. It's just some of that party is I don't even recognize. And I'm going to tell you, what you're seeing right now are, at least in the primaries, what you're seeing is a lot of basically communist, socialists are being, I don't know what the Democratic Party's going to do. I think they're losing, or they have lost complete control of their party. And I don't know how this party is going to reconcile this fact, because I mean, the Democrats I knew, I mean, we may differ on tax policy and stuff like that, but everybody loved America. Mm-hmm. And the idea
who were your Democrats at one time? Your firemen, your policemen,
exactly, blue collar people.
Your blue collar, your union people, your carpenters, your plumbers.
They all loved all loved America.
Yes.
And it's now turned into basically you got a bunch of foreigners in here that are getting elected and are driving the politics right now. I don't know what they're going to do. I'll be very curious.
There's two things that's going on right now. The Democrat Party is being split between the Democrats and the communists and socialists. And thanks to our governor here, he has now effectively split the Republican Party in Louisiana through some of his actions, like the Letlow Freeman thing or whatever.
Yeah, that was Fleming.
Fleming. Thank you.
And Julia
Okay,
Letlow.
So what he's done is he split the Republican Party down the half, because half the Republicans think he's okay, half the Republicans hate him.
Right.
So now what does that do for elections coming forward? So what are you going to do? So basically both parties are imploding from the inside through mismanagement and crappy politics.
Well, I mean, the Republicans also, they just like Democrats. I mean, within the umbrella of, or the tent of Republicans, there are some that are what I would call MAGA. You've got other Republicans that are what I would call more establishment type Republicans, like George Bush Senior type Republicans,
Right.
What they want are totally different. So on the Democratic side, just like we have MAGA, their version of MAGA are these democratic socialists. They want everything, free, and we need to redefine this and redefine that. Another thing I found that was very interesting. Have y'all been following the story of this movie that's come out?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Citizen Vigilante
Yeah.
that Elon Musk pushed.
Yeah.
It is grossing a lot of money right now, but basically it was a German, I believe it occurs in Germany, if I'm not mistaken, where a guy basically has had enough of basically these Muslim immigrants getting away with everything, judges not doing anything with them, and he basically goes around and starts taking care of. It kind of reminds me of the old Death Wish movies, from with Charles Bronson, which I love that movie. That was great. But yeah, I mean, this I'm telling you, and this is what happens when systems that are designed to keep a lid on things. It gives at least people some idea that justice will be served. When you have judges that are basically throwing out murder charges or, giving people probation for killing somebody, and it's like people are looking going, then where is justice in this?
Right.
I'm telling you, you're going to start seeing, I hate to say this, but in Europe, I think you're going to start seeing people going to be taking the law in their own hands because they're not getting it from the legal system right now. As much as this report showed of just the utter failure of these institutions to guard and protect your most vulnerable population, you just basically let it go. And have just given these people carte blanche. Whatever, okay, you killed somebody, you beat somebody to a pulp, you harass girls, they deserve it. That's basically what they're saying. They deserve it because they're white. It's just it. These people, I'm telling you, and really the group focused primarily on, it seems that most of these offenders are Pakistani males. Now, it's not only Pakistani, but the vast majority of Pakistani.
Hold on. I got a little list for you
Okay.
here. February 2025. And this one kind of stuck out to me. That's why I'm using it. Top 10. Pakistan. I'm going to go from bottom up. 10. Bangladesh. 15 arrests for rape. Afghanistan. 15 arrests. Romania. 20. Iran. Islamic Republic of Iran, 22. Iraq, 25. Slovakia, 31. Nigeria, 34. India, 34. Poland, 36. And Pakistan, 141.
Holy.
Yeah, it's a vast majority of.
And when you look at those breakdowns of, Poland's not a Islamic style thing, okay? But Pakistan. What is Pakistan? What is the religious breakdown in Pakistan? Does anybody know?
I don't. Off the top of my head, but I can make an assumption.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I think so.
Islam is 96, almost 97% in Pakistan. Hinduism is second, and Christianity is third. Poland, obviously, that's not it. What about India?
Oh yeah.
Any thoughts on India?
I think, isn't it Hindu there?
Hinduism, almost 80%. Islam is second with almost 15%. Okay. What about Nigeria?
I don't know.
Nigeria is almost kind of split. Northern Nigeria is Islamic, and southern Nigeria is Christian.
Oh yeah, okay. I remember we had a whole episode about the situation going
in
on
Nigeria, with the Christians being killed. So, but I mean, when you look at these numbers, there was total 2,721 arrests in February.
Wow.
Of 2025.
Yeah. Yikes.
But they're saying there was how many? 10,000, 100,000 arrests total. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just unbelievable to me. But when you look at this is mostly primarily Islamic countries.
Yes, it is.
Well, also, we talked about this in the same episode I think I referenced earlier, where it's like they are not, this is also probably going to be controversial for some people, they're not a religion of peace. It's about conquering. It's about...
It has always been that way.
Well, they've actually never conquered anything.
Well,
okay, they don't conquer anything. Right. They come in, they destroy you from the inside, and then they start putting in these no-go zones. Yeah. Then they start doing this. I mean, you think about that. What did the Pope do a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, yeah.
He opened the Vatican up to Muslim prayer.
I think in the library.
What? Mm-hmm. I'm not Catholic, but that pisses me off.
Yeah, believe me, there's a lot of people that are pissed about that.
And then now what they do is they excommunicate the whole sect of more traditional Catholics that aren't buying that do the traditional Latin Mass. I hope we do an episode on this.
Yeah, I think
because they excommunicated, what is it, like
SSPA.
15% of Catholics?
Yeah, that's some of the most conservative.
Yes, that's exactly who they are.
Catholicism.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but to me, this just reveals cracks in the weakness of Christianity. And unfortunately, I believe what's happened, this has been done in layers.
Yeah.
There is a degree of guilt, I believe, that is kind of situated in the Western mind. That there is a degree of we're sorry for colonialism, for stripping resources out of these third world countries, and really just kind of not really doing anything for for the country that we took the stuff,
right?
And believe me, that's a multi-layered issue,
yes.
and it's not as I'm not saying
it's not black and white.
It's not black and white,
right.
So I don't want people to get all up in an uproar. Right, that it's a complex issue, but it has been beaten into the mind of every Western person, that your history is bad, that you've done nothing good, and you've taken advantage of all these black and brown and Asian people. That's really what it comes down to. And I just believe over time, that seed that was planted long ago, it is being watered, it's being fertilized. It's what's happening in school now. They don't want to teach Western civilization anymore. Western civilization is bad. And then another thing, I think it's the abandonment of what animated Western civilization. And I always go back down to this. It's our Christianity. That is what created Western civilization. The idea of rights, the concept that women are dignified individual. Yeah. All of this comes out of Christian thought. Yeah. It did not originate in Islam or in the Far East or any of these other worldwide religions. It came out of Christianity. That is what animated Western civilization, and that is what built what we now take for granted. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't, this has been somewhat of a slow process of understanding what it means to have rights, dignity. Our own, in the United States, where the U.S. is celebrating 250 years, the Declaration of Independence, the idea that rights come from outside
Yeah.
They're appealing to a higher power in that document, showing government doesn't grant me rights. A king doesn't grant me anything.
Yeah.
That comes from a higher power. And so what's happened is we've unfortunately in the West have gotten lazy.
Yep.
We have gotten, what's the term I'm looking for? We've become apathetic.
Yeah.
We've become
Complacent.
Yeah. We have abandoned, I hate to say it, we've abandoned religion.
Yeah.
We've abandoned the things that animated our society, that gave it purpose and reason and gave it strength. That's what battled Islam back in the Middle Ages.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I hate to say it with my own Catholic church. I hate to say it. There is no, what Christians would go to war
Right.
with Islam today?
Right.
They're too weak.
Yeah.
I might get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I don't want to get away from my
People may think I'm a bigot.
Might think I'm a bigot, or I might,
yeah.
you know. I mean, the animation of defending your culture, of pushing back and saying
Christian nationalism.
Oh gosh.
You know, anytime that issue comes up, guess what happens? And it automatically, here he is. You got these liberal minds that start coming back. Well, that's bad. Blah, 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 blah. And it's on and on and on. It's like, how do you think you got here?
Yeah.
You think about that. How do you think you are here today?
That's okay. So I have heard more than any other time in my life, have I heard people not want to celebrate Independence Day because of like the stuff that has been going on in recent histories with, you know, the Trump administration and other stuff like that. And want to say some things and want to do certain actions. And the only thing I can think of, the only thing that comes through my head is you are taking for granted the fact that you live in a nation where you have the freedom to think and act like that. God bless the country that allows you to say, you know what, I don't want to celebrate the fact that we have independence and freedoms afforded to us through people's sacrifice and you know, whatever else. I'm like, I don't know, it surprises me that like someone can sit there and be so. It's the same thing, again, many years ago when I was in high school, I fundamentally didn't understand how someone who could be an American citizen and could burn the American flag out of hatred, not out of like a sacrificial thing, you know, from, you know, like the Boy Scouts and things like that, but like out of like, you know, hatred of like waving another nation's flag and like, and that kind of stuff. Like I was never really like super, I wouldn't say I was like a super, you know, gung-ho, prideful American, but at the same time, I'm also like, I know the freedoms I'm afforded as like a teenager, as like a young adult, and I understand that like it never clicked in my head that like, and you don't think to appreciate the country that affords you the freedom to do that very act. You're taking that whole thing for granted. The fact that like you can sit here and say, I don't like America, I hate America. And the fact that it's like, okay, you have the freedom of speech to say that. I may think you're wrong, but like that's the whole thing. And so like, but like, I don't know. It's just
think about this. There are members of Congress and the Senate and the House that have other countries' flags posted outside their office. Not American flags.
Yeah.
Other countries. You're supposed to be in the best interest of America, and you're going to fly another nation's flag out. That person should be removed right there. If you got the balls enough, and some of the Democrats can have balls, not balls. We won't get into that conversation, but to put another country's flag outside your office and represent them, you need to go right there. You need to go.
I don't. It's also it brings to mind also a recent thing too that I feel like the symbol of the American flag is also there is a large percentage of the U.S. right now, primarily I think liberals and people leaning in that direction that don't like the sign of the American flag, that like it offends them in a way, and that also it just the same kind of feeling washes over me where it's like, I don't know. I know we don't agree politically. I know we're not on the same party, but like at least we could stand underneath the same flag and say that we're an American citizen and we have the right to have different opinions.
And we love this country.
Yeah. But I think is those kind of people say they don't like this country and would proudly say they don't like this country. And to those people, I'm like, well, then go somewhere else, please. But anyways, that's a story for another time. But
yeah, I mean, it is telling you, this has just gotten, I'm telling you, America generally follows Europe about 50 years behind where Europe is, kind of where America. So if we don't,
we're ahead in some things and we fall behind in other things. Yeah,
it is until we can get over, I hate to say this, we have to get over this not willing to be called a name and having names to have power over you where you can't talk about something.
Right.
You can, about any topic.
Yeah.
You
but
can
if you look at it, that is the whole socialistic agenda. They know that they cannot win the argument. So all they have is name calling. That's all they've got. You're a racist. You're a Christian nationalist. Yeah. They can't win the argument. Charlie Kirk proved that thousands of times in his conversations. Right. The libtards can't win the conversation. They can't even have a conversation. They don't want to have a conversation. If you look at them, all they want to do is and scream as loud as they can and call you names and call you this and try to make you feel as uncomfortable as they can to get you to back down. Because when you back down, then in their mind, they've won.
Yeah.
Right. And it's time that we stopped backing down. Because that's going to be the only solution to this, is to not back down, okay? I'm not going to feel uncomfortable for my beliefs. This is America. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable for yours. The Constitution guarantees the American citizen the rights to pursue happiness. Doesn't guarantee you to be happy.
Right.
But it guarantees you the right to pursue that happiness. Right. And I believe every American citizen, and I say that very specifically, don't care about anybody else.
Right.
Okay? You're an American citizen. I don't care what color you are. I don't care anything. If you're an American citizen, you should be the greatest thing on this planet. And you should act like it. And you should go, I am an American.
Yeah. Be proud of it.
And be proud of it. Thank you. Yes. And then let's work out the other stuff.
Right.
Well, I've got the actual report pulled up here.
Okay.
And I'm looking through this. And if I think people really need to read this. I truly do. I think you're going to be quite horrified by what they revealed.
Yeah, I got some of those numbers too, but
what's allowed.
But just kind of reading this deal, they said the rape game inquiry examined the systematic targeting of vulnerable girls, overwhelmingly white British, by predominantly Muslim Pakistani gangs across towns and cities throughout the UK. The evidence put to the inquiry confirms that this scandal constitutes one of the most horrendous failures in the history of the country. Organized networks of perpetrators built coordinated operations that transported victims between locations, supplied them with drugs and alcohol, recorded abuse for distribution and blackmail, and passed girls between multiple adult men. These crimes have been committed for decades, since the 1950s, by Pakistanis in particular, and have affected every region of our nation. The scale of the crimes committed is staggering. It has been previously established that at the very least, 250,000 young white girls have been subjected to repeated rape, gang rape, trafficking, torture, pregnancy, forced Islamic conversion, and lifelong trauma.
Oh my God.
The true number is probably higher. The perpetrators bear primary responsibility, yet the institutional failures that enabled them for decades must also be confronted. In court records and official inquiries around 87% of those convicted in these group-based child sexual exploitation cases bore distinctively Muslim names. The vast majority of the men involved in these gangs were not convicted. Dr. Taj Hargay, an imam with the Oxford Islamic Congregation, believes the true proportion of gang members who are Muslims to be around 95%.
Oof.
This figure far exceeds the Muslim share of the overall United Kingdom population. The overwhelming majority of the rape gang networks consisted entirely of men from Muslim backgrounds, predominantly of Pakistani heritage, although smaller groups from Somalia, Iranian, Syrian, Turkish, and other Muslims' origins were also involved. The inquiry heard harrowing testimony from survivors and their families. The method used to groom children typically followed the same process. Girls as young as 11 were initially befriended by a young Muslim man who then treated the young child like an adult and then start providing them with alcohol, drugs, and cigarettes. After a few months, the girls would then be collected from school gates, care homes, and streets and taxis. They were taken to houses, flats, restaurants, and hotels where they were raped repeatedly by groups of men, tortured, filmed for blackmail, and told they were white trash or kuffar, who merited punishment. Kuffar, I believe, is a Muslim term. It's a slang term for basically your dog. And it's what you being Christian, whatever the case may be. Many became pregnant while still children. Some miscarried under trauma. Others endured coerced abortions, and some gave birth to children who were later removed by the state. We found that the same unspeakable crimes occurred in at least 149 local authority districts. Close to 40% of all such districts across the United Kingdom. Survivors described daily rapes, red rooms of extreme torture, trafficking between cities, and institutional disbelief that compounded their suffering. Some girls were even trafficked to the Middle East, where they would endure Islamic marriage.
Wow.
The demographic and cultural drivers are clear. Perpetrators from Pakistani Muslim and other Muslim backgrounds operated under an honor and shame-based clan code that treated non-Muslim girls, especially white working-class girls, as property available for sexual use.
Oh my gosh.
This pattern was reinforced by 8 theological and legal aspects of Islam. These include the doctrine of Muslim superiority, drawn from Quranic verses that position Muslims at the top, with a duty to correct non-believers. The gang members' justification for their crimes can be found in the Islamic principles of loyalty and disavowal known as Allah Wala Wala Bara, if I'm pronouncing that correct.
Yeah.
It demands enmity towards non-Muslims, the superiority of men over women, forced marriage combined with the absence of any fixed minimum age of consent, the perception of female sexuality as inherently dangerous, a system of sex slavery that authorizes sexual relations with non-Muslim captives, and a religiously sanctioned social hierarchy that subjugates conquered non-Muslims. These elements, filtered through clannish immigrant subcultures, provided religious justification that enabled the systematic rape and even the slaughter of white British girls. And it goes on
So are they
and on. This is
Yeah.
just the executive summary. It goes on and on about the failures then of British society in dealing
See,
with this.
that's where I wanted to go with this. You know
Yeah.
what really drives me crazy about this whole thing? MI5, MI6, SIS, SAS. These are some of the most badass men and women in the world. They are trained better, equal to anybody. I would put some of these people up against anybody. Why aren't they doing anything? Why are they the complacent ones? I knew some MI6 people back in my day doing the things that I used to do.
That's when they were actually probably doing what they...
Where are they today?
They don't exist.
They are there.
Yeah, well...
But where are they today? Why are they allowing this to go on?
Because maybe they have been compromised, and maybe they got people...
That's sad.
Yeah.
I mean,
because, you know, when you look back at World War II and the some of those Brits...
Oh, yeah.
Were something. I mean, they were just unbelievable with their passion. And then even back in the 80s, just the amount of weapons training and skill that these men and women have. Where are they? Why are they closed? Why aren't they just making people disappear? You can still do that in England.
Well, that obviously then they have to be compromised if they're allowing this.
Yeah. Or they're outnumbered.
I have to read this because this just gives you...
I don't want to read the whole report.
No.
I don't want to read the whole report. We can tell people where it is and let them find it, but I don't want to read the whole report.
This is not the whole report. This is just a summary.
I understand that. I was being sarcastic.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, we need to talk about things we can do, things that...
Are they doing anything, or is anybody?
Well, no, there was nothing being done. That's the reason this whole. I mean, the reason this report came out is because people have to understand this report follows a government report that came out before this one. Yeah. The problem is the data that's being collected omitted ethnicity,
of course,
which is typical.
Yeah.
You know, well, we don't know what they are. If you don't collect the data, then you can always kind of play ignorant.
Well, they don't want to do it on religion because that would be religious bias. So they're because if you look at Pakistan, that's an Islamic country. If you look at Nigeria, if you look at these, they're not even putting people's nationalities down on the reports so that it couldn't be accidentally said that it's the Muslims or Islamics.
Yeah.
So
we do the same thing in America, where there's a bunch of stuff, and their ethnicity is Caucasian, and of course you look at them, and you're like, okay,
right,
yeah, that is not a Caucasian man.
No,
yeah,
it's dude, I'm telling you,
fudging the numbers.
How you report something is just as important as it actually being happening. So you can go, maybe that's a problem.
Yeah, pattern recognition.
Yeah,
we don't want to have that though. So yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy. But we also did kind of touch on potentially just a second ago, like what you talked about with the Pope and excommunicating a whole section. I think.
Well, that's been an issue. So. That's been an issue going back, and we'll do an episode on that. I have some ideas of. I mean, I've followed it as a Catholic. Everybody is aware of the SSPX and the whole issue regarding. Supposedly, I forget if it's Pope John the 23rd, his election was valid or not, all that. So there's a lot
Trickles
kind of involved in that. It's kind of all intertwined.
Yeah.
But in essence,
that was the conservative group.
Yeah. Right.
That was the people that didn't want all of this stuff going on.
Crazy to think that. Obviously, now we're like, I don't know.
The Pope opened up.
I know. That's the thing.
The Vatican
that's crazy.
For Muslim prayer. Okay, this was part of the same group that sent the Templars
called weak. They're weak.
Yeah.
Weak.
Over to deal with the Muslims.
Someone needs to learn how to say no.
I'm gonna tell you, Islam is like this. I hate to say it. They're perceiving the West to be weak.
Oh, absolutely.
And that is why they're it's only in the past when the West was strong.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? You never saw this from Islam. No. Matter of fact, they were trying to adopt Western ways because they're the superpower.
Hold on. Think about it. Thomas Jefferson. Mm-hmm. Okay? We got the Barbary pilot. pirates.
Yep.
Okay, what did he do? He sent the Marines in. They killed everybody. They killed the dogs. They killed the pigs. They killed, the goats. They killed everything.
Yeah.
You never heard from the Muslims again for 150 years.
That's right.
Okay, he went in there and it was done.
It goes back to this. What I'm saying, there has been. This is what's like the frog in the boiling water.
Yeah.
The men in the West have become weak.
Well, about certain things. Because
I would just say they're weak.
You're right.
There's a lack of conviction in people today.
There's a certain.
There just is. And
how many times have I said it? Hard times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Yeah. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. We are in the weak men era right now. The men are weak. And the strong men want to stay quiet because, toxic masculinity, Christian nationalism, because we're called so many names that we're not willing to stand out.
Yeah.
And
the point that I'm making is obviously, Pope Leo can be against gay marriage, being sanctioned in the Catholic Church, but can be okay with prayer. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Is like,
well, I think there's a little bit more. I want to read a bit more about that whole deal about opening the Vatican up. I don't think it's what. There's a little bit more to it than that. I mean, I would have to do a little bit more reading on that, and we can probably talk about that when we do the episode on the SSPX. But what the point of this topic is this report,
right,
and what this report shows, and it just shows an absolute failure by the Guardians to protect its most vulnerable because of why? Because I'm afraid of being called a racist or a bigot or an Islamophobe. Yeah. It infects all of us. Look, even now, if we talk about certain topics, you watch the tone. All of a sudden, it gets well. We might be called if we say that. I'm at a point where I just don't care.
I don't either
anymore. I mean, the truth is truth.
Yeah. We can talk about what these people are doing, and we're Islamophobics, okay? But they can hate everybody. They can rape people. They can kill people. They can they can kill Christians, but they're not Christian phobics. And no, we want them here. We want No, we should be able to stop it, say it, and our representatives in the government should be listening to us and not be scared of being called names. Yeah. They should go, Constitution, we're going to enforce it, get the F out. Or we're going to put you out.
So my question is, though, why is it so hard to do that today?
Because we're weak.
Because I think there's a large majority well, maybe not large majority. There is a percentage of the population that is loud, and I think
are willing to fight. That's what it comes down to, and I will give that side of the political aisle credit. They are willing to get down and fight, and I hate to say it, but my side of the political aisle wants to play tiddlywinks. They just do. You just don't. Now, I do believe that I do sense a bit of a shift starting to happen. But I right now, they are the fighters on the other side. They're willing to go out there and shut things down and cause chaos and do whatever.
Fight would be I wouldn't use the word fight. To make
things difficult. On I hate to say it, the people on the right just do not want to fight. They just don't. That's why we lose all the time. It's like you take 2 steps forward, and then there's this the conservatives, but all you're doing is taking a step back. You're not taking 3 steps back.
Right. I think it's because people, or at least I feel like I know, and I think I know people that also probably feel this way. That if I was to stand up and fight for the other side, I would probably be in the minority in the fight, and it would be a stacked fight against me, and I probably wouldn't win. You know what I mean?
Well,
There's a handful of things, handful of groups, handful of stuff.
That's where I this is what I've always said. I listened to a guy by the name of Raymond Ibrahim.
Yeah.
He's actually a Coptic Christian, but he speaks a lot about Islam and what the West needs is a muscular Christianity to return. And I hate to say it, but in the modern world, churches have become feminized. The men have become feminized. It is not it's not the warrior culture that at one time made Christianity what it was. And unfortunately, we're paying the consequences for that. We really are. Yeah. Because trust me, Islam, they sense weakness. They're coming for your throat. Right. They just are.
Well, I'm pretty sure that we have definitely offended somebody out here. And if you want to let us know, we have comment sections on YouTube and Spotify where you can leave some short form responses. And we also have
a great email.
Yeah, we have an email address called getoffendedtogether@gmail.com where you can send some more long form responses if you feel so inclined. Be sure to subscribe on whatever podcasting platform that you listen to us on, because we are on almost all of them. Like where you can, because it really does help us out. Share it with somebody that you think would probably like or maybe hate this one, because all press is good press from what I've heard from a few individuals.
There you go.
Wink, wink. And until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone, and God bless.
I heard the best quote this week. If violent crime is to be curbed, it is only the intended victim who can do it. The felon does not fear the police, and he fears neither the judge nor the jury. Therefore, what he must be taught to fear is his victim. And that is from Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Cooper, United States Marine Corps. Thanks for hanging out with us today. You're the best. Peace.